Hello, hello. This is Solomon Wangwe. Thank you for tuning in. We are back to have another conversation with Pius, and you're watching The Tea.
And this is Pius Muchiri. Welcome to The Tea.
Okay, so the topic for today is relationships. I know they told us platonic and romantic relationships, which you had trouble getting out of your mouth last time.
I'm still digesting.
Yeah, so if I may, kindly kick us off on that conversation. What do you have to say about relationships? How important are they? What are the rules of engagement, especially when they are romantic? Because I think every other relationship can be boxed into the platonic.
Okay.
Take your pick.
Wow. So you've chosen the romantic, to start with the romantic, okay.
Whichever you like, right? Whichever you like.
I mean, first of all, let me say, relationships are everything. I think they are one thing that that tends to be underplayed in our season of being in school, is the importance of relationship. It's kind of like being in school de-emphasizes the importance of relationship and really emphasizes on our technical abilities. But when you come out into the real life, it's all about relationships. You can have the best technical expertise, you can have the best knowledge, you can be the sharpest guy in the room, but if you can't connect with people, if you can't communicate, relay your very complex idea in a very simple fashion and move someone into some action, then it's very difficult for you to make it in your after school life. So most of us, especially when you get into leadership positions, our biggest struggle is to really upscale ourselves very, very rapidly in terms of building these soft relationships in the course of doing business. If you're selling to someone, are you really selling, or are you really building a relationship? For the guys who I have observed during my career, the guys who are really up to selling, then they tend to really have very short-term business, or they are not very successful. But the guys who really build good networks, solid, genuine friendships, relationships, then the business becomes a natural byproduct of the relationships. But let's talk about this subject of romantic relationships, because we get it out of the way.
Yes.
From where I sit, there are three kinds of romantic relationships that we'll get into. And the first one is when you just you're becoming aware of yourself, and that's what we tend to call a crush. You're having a crush on someone, and that's more, it's more about becoming aware of your orientation, and that there's something different between a female and a male, and there's just that natural attraction. So everybody has had a crush. Please don't lie to me. Everybody has had a crush. The second one, I think the second one is the most interesting. Is the one we say you are head over the heels of someone. You literally fall in love with someone. It's like many people tend to call it their first love. And nobody forgets their first love, right? Ama ni mimi peke yangu, eh? I look like I'm the only one in this conversation. If you guys have never fallen in love, it's okay. It's just me. So the first one, that tends to really come, especially in your 20s or late teens, and it's something. It's an experience that most of the time ends up, unfortunately, with a heartbreak for many people. Very few of them really progress to the next stage. Then the third one, and I'll give you Solo to give your own experience on this. I'm just giving my version here. The third one are what I call kingdom-like relationships. Kingdom spouses or kingdom relationships. These tend to come from very unexpected people. You've been hanging around this person, they're just your friend. In fact, you call each other bro and sis, and things are just moving, and you have such a genuine relationship and genuine care for one another. And this tends to eventually surprise many people that they develop. You're like, Allah, I was meant to marry this one, and she's always been around. And that's also kind of what I was told before I got married. Told by the Pius, your wife will not come from very far. Somehow she just comes from there. And we had this hangout every end of the month in my house. Guys who loved God, and they would come to hang out. We would listen to lots of gospel music. We would dance a lot. We would praise. We would pray also.
Hey, and those are your kinds of hangouts.
Those were my hangouts. Those were on Fridays.
Okay.
And it was something that really became very popular. Lots of guys would come to our house in South B. Then that's where I used to live. And a few of us discovered those people who are our sisters. The relationship morphed up into something else, and suddenly people were dating, and very quickly people were getting married. But it was not those ones you fall in love first. So that's how I would summarize the romantic part of relationships. What about you, my brother?
You're not happying that story. Yeah, you have to tell us. You have to tell us what happened with you. What was your experience? Did you go through all of them? The three types? Me, I didn't even know there were three types.
When I was growing up, I was, this guy who, I think I'm sort of like you, a control freak, I was like, me, I'll never be the girlfriend I'll have is the one I'll marry. Until I met, I think I had been sent to the shops, and on the way I bumped into this lady who we were in the same class. I think I was in standard 8 or something like that. And for some funny reason, we were outside the school, but I saw her very differently. It's like my heart was leaping out of me into her, and she was just looking at me, and I was like, I'm about to melt down here, So for me, that's what I would call that was my crush.
Okay.
It never progressed further than that. Thank God.
Because what happened?
That was just no, nothing. I just didn't pursue it. But it really shook me that I had those kind of feelings inside me, and I've never forgotten. It was like my first encounter with a female that I was really attracted to. So she never even knew that I had a crush on her. Then of course high school, I was part of the guys who used to go for drama festivals, and that's where things used to happen. I was in the wrong school, by the way, Jamhuri High School. And when you get into the bus, you've been practicing drama all along, and then the only qualification they ask for when you get into the bus, if you are here and you cannot speak to a Chile, please step outside. I'm like, man, I had never spoken to a Chile.
Really?
Never.
Which is why the crush didn't progress.
It didn't progress.
Didn't talk to the Chile, man. Yeah, we're getting somewhere.
We're getting somewhere. So I considered leaving the bus. Then I was like, man, all that hard work of drama, preparing for drama festival.
Learning lines.
Then eventually I said, you know, I'm going to stick inside here. Somehow I shall survive. We shall find out how to survive. So drama festivals used to be held at Kenya National Theatre.
Yep.
Kenya National Theatre. I still remember very vividly how the bus stopped right in the midst. I mean, the place was flooded with students and with Chiles especially. And my heart was pounding, you know. And then this guy comes and says, now, everybody, get out there and conquer the place.
What does that mean? Are you supposed to conquer? Huh?
I'm telling you, I did not know how I was. Didn't know how. I was not feeling my legs, how they were walking. But I got out of the bus and somehow stumbled in front of St. George's. And I was in front of some Chiles by myself. I don't know where the rest went. I just couldn't see anything beyond me, you know. I was in front of St. George's Chiles, and the only thing I could do is to smile. I smiled, and there was a smile back at me, and I was instantly healed.
Good stuff.
I struck a conversation, and I started seeing guys, you know, they were pointing fingers at me. Hey, that guy is good, man. That guy did not even waste time.
They don't know you're a novice, just stumbling your way through.
So I remember at the end of that drama festival, we exchanged contacts with this chick. I still remember she was a Kale. You know, those days there were no phones, so the only thing that you could give them was their post office box. So I gave them post office box for Jamu, and we started sending each other letters. And you know, when you're going for lunch, that's when entering the place for lunch, there used to be a big table where they put letters. So I would pass by there, man, letters are arriving, the written Pius, Muchiri, man. Guys are like, man, that guy is good.
You had game.
And do you remember the newspaper? It had this, towards the last section, classified section, there was a small cartoon that used to say, love is.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know about this generation. Is it still there? But there was a cartoon.
I remember that, yeah.
A very small cartoon that used to say, love is something. So I would cut out that piece of paper and I would put it on my letter, and it would go.
Was it the one with like the dude and the chick cartoon characters always doing something?
Yes, love is.
I think it's still there.
It's still there,
I think so.
I
haven't read a newspaper. Everything's on digital now.
So I had this girlfriend in St. George's. So I can say St. George's was the place I got my first girlfriend.
Hey. Not bad.
Whom I met for the first and the last time at the drama festival, because we were only girlfriend and boyfriend on letter. It was just for show off. And it was a nice experience. It was a nice experience. It was nice to know that I can like someone. It was nice to know that also someone can like me. And I think that's something very healthy for all of us. It's important to know that other people can appreciate you, and also it's important for you to know that you appreciate others. I think for me that was a valuable lesson. It never progressed again beyond that.
Okay.
So I was a novice like that. We are waiting for your story. So I'm laying the foundation for you.
Yeah.
Then of course, my kingdom-like relationship it now came during that season. We used to meet at my house in South B, and we were many guys who were in their early 30s, ladies and men. We just loved God. We just loved God. And there was this chick, man. The first time she came and she opened her mouth, I was like, this chick is not real. As in, she was saying all the right things. You know, all the right things that you want to hear. I'm like, as in, this must be a fluke. You know, it's like a jigsaw puzzle was falling in place. And
you guys can tell how old a Pius is.
So I was like, no, let's see how it goes next time.
Yeah.
So she'd come next time and she would hit all the right buttons. As in, the character was just immense for me. That was my biggest pulling factor. Her character was just out of this world. She loved God purely. She had all the things that I thought would be necessary for a lady. So in fact, my way of appreciating, I was like, hey, all along I've thought there is none like this. So if this one is there must be others outside. So I said, let me go and find out first of all what are the others outside. So I would go for dates. Then I would be like, man, this one is not like that one. Every day. I go for a date, I'm like, this one is not like that one. So eventually,
You came back full circle.
I came back full circle, humbly accepted. This is the one. Long story anyway. I'm cutting a very long story short because it can keep us here for a long time. But she turned out to be my wife, Helima, and I remember we sat down on 18th of October 2009, and it was so obvious we were meant to be together. And 6 months later, we were husband and wife.
What?
Quickly. Chap.
That was quick, yeah.
No, that's how fast I can go.
Yeah.
That's the other side of me you didn't see.
Just like the St. George's situation.
Oh, and by the way...
Out of the bus into smiles.
Yeah. And by the way, she was also a St. George's alumni.
Oh, no way. Had you guys met before?
No, not in those drama festival things. No.
Okay.
So me and St. George's, we have something.
Yes. I hope you send contributions to the school.
I think they should get they need to give me the M-Pesa number.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Yes. Well, first of all, disclaimer as always, I do not speak as an expert of any kind. We're just sharing our experiences, and hopefully it helps someone. Yeah. Because I think you can learn from other people's mistakes just as much as you can from their successes. And whether or not I've been successful, I leave to others to judge. But for me, relationships now, I would say, are the most critical factor in life. Right from which family you're born into, your relations with your family members, because that's your training grounds, school, relationships, and school is huge, and especially the latter years of school. I think statistically, globally, actually, most people end up marrying someone they were in college with, which says a lot. So choose your schools carefully. That's a moral to the story for me there, because it all boils down to the same thing. Who are you hanging around? You just mentioned at the beginning before we started shooting, you are the average of the six people you spend most time with. That's a frightening thought for me when I think about it in those terms, because then I'm like, who am I spending time around? Is it for those of us who travel a lot, is it a dere? Is it a work colleague? What kind of person are they? Is it, and to think that your life is the average of the six people you spend most time with, your spouse. Are you influencing them or are they influencing you?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
But to keep it short, you cannot overstate the importance of relationships of any kind. Now, speaking about romantic relationships, I've never had issues in that department. And by that I mean I haven't struggled to relate to.
Well, does that mean you didn't have a crush or something?
I had plenty.
Okay.
I had plenty, and they all liked me.
Okay.
In fact, my problem was picky, ponky. You know, which one do I pick? And I'm not saying that to brag. So I'm the firstborn in my family. I have two younger sisters. So I grew up in a house primarily full of estrogen. Because my dad was at work, he'd come in late. I was generally around women.
Yes.
And so by virtue of that, I didn't struggle to relate with women. I understood almost subliminally how to interact with chicks.